I definitely have a sense of if I want something good in my life, it's like up to me to make it happen, which is good, but it's also really good to know that there's somebody else who cares that much to do something really special. So the fact that you planned it was actually also one of the things that made it so special.
I think also like magic is something that you choose, and it's something that you choose every day. And some days also accepting that there's not gonna be magic, it's just gonna be what it is. And when there's no magic, it's just like it's also a season that the magic will come back. I think like that's what I'm learning to do is like when I'm sad, just to be sad. Like I don't have to have the magic all the time, but to also know that the magic is there when I'm ready to choose it.
For my 40th birthday, we had just started dating.
Yeah.
We were fairly new, and you didn't get me a gift, which was kind of fine. It was totally fine because I'm not like expecting gifts is kind of not a favorite thing of mine, and I don't really need a gift. So like I thought about it, I was like, oh, she didn't get me anything for my 40th. Oh, and I might have been like moderately disappointed for like 5 seconds, and then it went away. But then a year later, you're like, well, I didn't get you a 40th birthday, so I got you an Apple Watch for your 41st. And I was like, I didn't want it.
Interesting.
No, I told you that. I was like, I didn't want this because it was not because I didn't want an Apple Watch. I wanted an Apple Watch. It was like, it felt too big. I was like, wait, what? Like, that's too much. And at the time you were still a student. I'm like, no, like this, I don't feel comfortable with this. And you said, well, you're going to have to get used to it because if you're going to, be the man in my life, I'm going to do special things for you.
I can be profound.
You can be. You can make a man feel pretty dang good.
I don't remember this, but I don't even actually remember not getting you a gift because gifting is not something that comes, like I feel like it's not like I plan about gifting. Like I feel like I gift when I feel like gifting or when I feel like someone actually needs that special thing. But not necessarily just because it's their birthday. Like I don't know. I grew up in Kenya. We didn't do a lot of gifting.
Yeah. But anyway, that was really, so there was a similarity to that.
Oh.
So there you go.
Okay, what's the third prompt? You should read it.
Okay, what one thing can you do to bring some of that magic into this week? I'm excited to hear your answer because I want to know how it's going to be a magical week for me.
Actually, I actually think that I already started to do that this week. I feel like I've been waiting for COVID to end to live my life. Like there's almost in the same way that I feel like I stopped doing like taking full responsibility for my life when COVID hit. It almost kind of feels like this is lockdown. I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do that. And then yesterday I was talking to my best friend and I was just like, actually, yes, all those things are locked, but also there's a lot to do. Like I'm just making excuses. And I was like, I'm just gonna, almost in the same way now that I'm talking about it, like I'm just gonna take responsibility and not wait for either you or now in this case, the pandemic to end for me to start to live my life. And I was like, I was just like, I miss the days I would wake up in the morning and go to coffee shops and like sit there and like journal. And I was like, and now I can't do that. And I've been saying that for the pandemic, we've had it for a year and I've been saying that for almost like 8 months. And yesterday I just was like, I'm going to take real responsibility for my life and the way that I'm living my life. I may not be able to go to a coffee shop, but I've been so blessed this year. I live 20 minutes away from the beach. There's no reason, and so many beautiful parks around me. There's like literally no reason why I shouldn't wake up in the morning and go to the beach or go on a run to the park. Like absolutely no reason. And so I was like, today marks the beginning of where I actually start to take responsibility for the way that I want to live my life.
Yeah. And there's something too, when you were saying that, and we're talking about this, like what made it magical and bringing magic back in. I feel like because life has so much routine or whatever, there can be this sense that the everyday, like, how do you bring that magic? I mean, here we even said, like, bring it into this week. And there's really no reason why that same magic can't come into the week, can't come into the day. And, this is the beach. It's fairly close, and it's the one that we go to the most because it's so close to where we live. And even on the way back, we took a different way home. It took maybe 5 minutes longer, maybe. And it was beautiful. It was a beautiful drive. It was something new. It was something we hadn't seen before. And there was just some magic in that. And as we were driving, we kept just sort of exclaiming about how beautiful it was. And so I love that you're bringing this up, and I also love that this is coming into the conversation today. How do you bring that magic into this week? Sure, it's between us because this is our lover's journal, but I need magic in my life so that I have that magic in me, so that I'm a better partner for you, so I'm a better self for me, so that I show up more presently with others. But when we talk about the lover's journal and the work we do together, we're not only doing it together, we're doing it for ourselves so that we can be stronger, but also because if I feel every day that I have magic in my life, that's going to have an impact on you no matter what. It's going to make me a better partner. It's going to make me more, understanding when you're having a meltdown. It's going to make me more, easygoing when we're having a challenge or whatever those things are. And so I just kind of like love this, like bringing that. If I could go back, and there's no reason why I don't take that magic that we've had or those memories of that magic and be like, you know what? I can feel that today, and I can feel that tomorrow, and I can feel that the next day, and I can choose that daily or weekly if I need to, I mean, there are definitely times that we go through where we're like, there just ain't no magic in my life right now.
Nope.
Life is kind of crummy. And if I could, I would, pull this blanket over my head until all the oxygen was gone and I would never get up again.
Oh my God, no.
Everybody has those. Everybody has those. And then like, that's okay. And the magic may not come into that day, but there's also a lot of days where it's like, oh, I could choose. You got to have that thing. Like even today, this morning, when we had this little, I don't even want to call it an argument or whatever, but this issue that we had just kind of reared its head just a little bit. And I was like, because it was my birthday, I was like, I could make this mean something more than it is.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just have to decide to not do that. And I recognized that at one point, I was like, oh, it's not just decision. It's not just like I can go one or the other. At a certain point, I realized I could way more easily take this negatively and go down that road. So it took a little extra effort to be like, you know what? I'm not going that way with it. I'm going to go with the magic and not with the challenge. So that was a choice. And that initial hurdle, sometimes it's almost like, have you ever been in a car and you are starting, but there's like a big bump right in front of you? It's like, once you get up it's like, oh, I'm up, I'm over, I'm now driving. But that first thing, like, oh, why can't I go? Oh, it takes a little extra effort. But once you're going, you're fine.
Yeah.
And so I think that's something with this magic thing.
I think also like magic is something that you choose, and it's something that you choose every day. And some days also accepting that there's not going to be magic, it's just going to be what it is. And when there's no magic, it's just like, it's also a season that the magic will come back. I think like that's what I'm learning to do, is like when I'm sad, just to be sad. Like I don't have to have the magic all the time, but to also know that the magic is there when I'm ready to choose it.
Yeah, right. It's funny that kind of also reminds me, my dad, I remember there was a family friend of ours who was really struggling for a long time. And since she also worked at the school where my dad taught and where I went, like I could just see it. And she just seemed so heavy and so sad. And I was like, what do we do? Like she was just so sad, clearly. And my dad said, sometimes it's just like, it's okay to be sad, and it's okay for our friends to be sad, and it's okay just to hold the space for them to be sad. That's part of life. That's okay.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really important thing. And it begins to actually make the sad a little less sad when you're like, actually, this is okay. It doesn't need to be different than it is in this moment.
True.
So...
do you want to finish with a quote? We didn't read the quote today.
We didn't read the quote, and it's quite a lovely one. Why don't you go ahead and read it?
No, you should read it.
Oh. Well, it's my birthday, so do I
Yeah,
have to
so
read it
you
for my
should-
birthday, or do I
yeah.
get it read to me for my birthday?
I think you should read it for your birthday.
Okay,
Take the responsibility.
All right. Love is not an emotion. It is your very existence, said Rumi. And yeah, I think there's a lot to that, actually. That love is, right? It's what brought us here. It's what made sure we were fed. And yeah, it's a pretty special thing. So here we are heading in to this week. I think it's a good question for us all to bring, which is going back to a moment that we had magic. We can each kind of consider that, and what is some of that we can bring into this week and into our lives moving forward.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for joining us. Once again, if you don't have a Lover's Journal and would like one, theloversjournal.com, you'll be able to find it there. They are in 4 colors and they are beautiful and really an amazing process to go through, either on your own, but most preferably with a partner if you have one. And if not, I should just say that before we started doing this, and I mentioned before I've been a journaler, but right before you and I met, I'd been spending really time journaling about what was important to me in a partner, because I also knew that if I wasn't careful, I could also bring some of my old patterns into a new relationship. I would find somebody that was going to support old patterns as opposed to supporting the growth that I was doing. And this is actually something that can be pretty profound. Would be some slight alterations, but looking back into, even that question of what was your favorite date and why, like that can begin to clarify what is important to you, even if you're on your own, or if you're saying, I'm going to spend some time getting ready to have an amazing relationship. I want to do my groundwork. That way I attract the right person, and that I am the person I want to be in that relationship, that I'm my best person. And I think that can get overlooked sometimes. And so I just want to put that out there. And as we move into the next week, let's bring some magic into it. So
Yeah. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Have a great week full of love. Bye-bye.